Okay. Shows me we're live. I'm getting some feedback. And I'm opening up on my other screen so that I can see
it?
What the people see. Yeah.
It's a good idea. I should have done that.
Well, because I'm not sure. So first of all, for anybody who gets to join us live, I see we have a few live viewers on with us right now. That's awesome. Thank you very much for joining us. Trying a new, I guess, live software. And so this is kind of a trial by error sort of interview. And Travis has graciously let me his time to be my guinea pig.
I'm the guinea pig. We'll see how this works. We're going to try to have some fun with this.
Exactly. So I'm using BeLive.tv to do this little interview here. And I'm going to try and keep up with the comments and the stuff that's going on here to see what I can see. Because right now, on my one screen, it's showing frozen. But on this screen, it's showing that we're good to go. Great. So if those that are on here live could just give us a thumbs up. Let us know if you can hear us and you can see us. Those are kind of key to a Facebook. But on this screen, it's showing that we're good to go. So if those that are on here live could just give us a thumbs up. Let us know if you can hear us and you can see us. Those are. Did you hear that?
Oh yeah, I did. I definitely.
That's me trying to watch it on the other screen to see if it's working.
So we're live and live twice. It's the Matrix now.
That was really freaky. I apologize for that. See, it is trial by error. And I know a lot of people that I talk with are always afraid to go live, or they're afraid to do something because they're like, well, what if it doesn't work out? Well,
then you get to laugh at yourself and say, look at what kind of an idiot I did in this live video.
Totally. And sometimes you just don't know how to do something until you've done it.
Yes. Right? And once you've screwed up, it's not so concerning anymore. Now that we've made a big mistake off the start, it's going to be that much smoother the rest of the show.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so Mandy says, I'm here and I can see you. Awesome. Okay. Perfect. Okay, well let's get moving along here. We have a few people with us. So
good stuff.
So basically, to start the conversation with Travis, I just want to get somebody on who is like-minded, who's kind of in the same space, who's dealing with a lot of same thoughts and adversities and stuff as the rest of us are, to have a conversation. And on the cold, crappy day that it is, I needed an excuse to have a coffee.
Yeah, it's a good day to stay inside and have a Facebook Live conversation and drink coffee rather than be out there. So
yeah, totally. So welcome, Travis Frank, to be my special guest today. And to get things started, I guess just most of the people here probably know who you are, but who are you and what do you do?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Travis Frank. I'm currently working as the executive director for the St. Joseph's Hospital Foundation. You probably know me from some of the 50,000 other things I've done, including sitting on Estevan City Council. I've done a bunch of events like Estevan Idol and the Saskatchewan Summer Games.
Oh, I didn't know you. Were you a singer or were you just organizing idols?
I was Estevan Idol for 4 years. That was my baby for a number of years. So that was one of my starting points. So I even have the posters behind me. And
I saw those when I was in like a week ago, but I didn't even get a chance to ask you.
Yeah, no, I produced Idol for 4 years, so I did all the fun behind the scenes stuff for that, which is great. And some of the other roles I've played is working in sales and marketing with SaskTel in the store there, Jump.ca for a couple of years, and most recently working with Regan's Disposal and making garbage look good, which my life lesson is if you can market garbage, you can market anything, because that was it's hard to make that look good. That's all I can say. So yes, it's fun to be here. And I mean, despite all of that, you and I have still had lots of conversations because, and I still bring you in, you'd use your services pretty regularly because it doesn't matter how much of this stuff, you try to pretend you know what you're doing. It's amazing how much a good conversation with somebody can make you realize there's a lot more to it. There's always something you can improve on, and always something you can be working towards. So yeah.
I hope those conversations don't make you feel like there's always a lot more to it. I think, I don't know, for me personally, I just like having somebody to bounce the ideas off of, to ask the hard questions sometimes that get you to dive down. And personally, I'm so close to what I do that I need somebody to sort of remove me from that a little bit and look at it from an outside perspective.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. It's nice to have exactly the outside perspective. Sometimes you think you're on the perfect track and you've got this great idea, and to have somebody else come at you and say, play devil's advocate a little bit and say, well, hang on, maybe this isn't as good as you think it is, and get just different perspective on ideas is so helpful.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully that's what we can try to do in this video, and give people some ideas. Or maybe it'll just be a big joke, and like you said, we'll delete it later.
Yeah. If it doesn't work, there's always delete.
That's right. That's right. So,
well, for those that are on here right now, Travis and I hopped on the phone like an hour ago to kind of discuss, what we were going to do. And the conversation was so good and it flowed so well that I hope we can kind of duplicate that here.
I know, exactly. Well, and I mean, even just trying to come up with an idea what the heck to talk about, and then we get talking about these topics, and there's so many things, and so I mean, trying to stay relevant to what you and I have worked on in the past, and what the heck I try to pretend to know I know about it. We'll see if there's anything there, but I don't want to give myself any credit for anything. But I mean, the idea we kind of came up with is talking a little bit about, my background coming from sales and more corporate communication type things, and moving into social media. And I think that's a really good topic, because if anybody is like me and has had to work for a big company where everything needs to be professional and everything needs to be like a robot wrote it, getting into social media is hard, because you're not used to this. You have to be funny, and you have to be entertaining, and still try to sell a product, and that's not as easy as you'd think on social media. It should be easy, but it's not. It's a whole new medium that we're not used to when you've done newspaper ads or radio ads or things like that. It's a totally different perspective on how to do advertising.
It is a little bit. It is. We've gone from the position where we were always just broadcasting and sending that message out there through, and even in the beginning times of social media, that's what it was. It was just, hey, I have this thing, buy this thing is on sale, like that kind of stuff.
And now we're moving to an engagement culture where, I mean, one of the huge values I see to social media in a few different things, probably more than anything, is in the political aspect that I live in. The engagement, and being able to have a conversation with somebody and say, okay, what, thoughts back and forth, and it can be dangerous, but it can also be very valuable. And I know a lot of businesses shy away from it, but it's the best thing in the world if you get it going around. So.
Right. Well, and so a lot of the questions that come up too is people are always afraid that if they have the ability for people to leave reviews on their page, or they're even in the social atmosphere at all, that people are going to come along and they're going to say bad things and make you look bad. And I mean, you've been in a few positions now and big transitions or big moments where you've had to kind of harness that stuff. My advice to everybody is always kind of the same. It's like, well, people are going to talk shit about you, whether you know about it or not. And by being able to be a part of the conversation, you're able to, I guess, harness that a little bit more. You're able to talk with them. And I think in the conversation we had like 2 weeks ago, you said a lot of times once you get talking to them, you sort of end up changing them around a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
It's amazing. You can, I hear that a lot from people is, I don't want to respond to people on Facebook because they get so hostile. And I kind of say, well, they're already hostile. You're just trying to, hey, Linda, hey, that's cool. People are already, if they're on there spouting off nasty things, they're already being hostile. So you're not, I mean, you don't want to make things worse, but if you have a well worded and if you think it out, you can actually really turn a lot of those conversations around, and that can be really valuable to your business, because now you've gone from exactly what you just said. I worked for a company, I won't say which one, in the past couple of years here, who did not use social media. They're a big national company, and they said, well, we don't want to, because then everybody will be on there complaining. And I laughed and said, well, everybody's already on there complaining. You're just not there responding.
Right.
You have nothing you can do about it. So,
and which is worse? Which is worse, really?
It is. It's so much worse. And like, at least you can turn some, okay, every once in a while somebody's just going to be a jerk, and they're going to turn it they're going to make it even worse once you respond. And there's nothing you can do about those, but at least you can try, and you can maybe get all the people reading that, realizing that you did turn that around, and then you can create a little bit more engagement with your customers and your viewers, I guess. Exactly.
And you have to be careful, because there's some people that will just keep going. And so then basically I always try to say, start it online, take it offline, right?
Yeah, that's a really great way to do it too, right? Is to say, hey, you know what, you should shoot me a message. And I mean, I kind of have to refer back to the political lifestyle I live, and that's a really great way. But at least then, I mean, even in that, and I've gotten myself in trouble for actually commenting on pages, but at least by doing that, people know that you cared enough to reach out and say, hey, I'm here, let's talk. And you can continue a conversation, and the rest of the world. And that's the important thing that I still struggle to get my head around. It's not just the person you're talking to, it's the rest of the world that's reading it. And we were laughing earlier about some of the things we're seeing from a lot of these other these big companies, these national chains dealing with their own issues and having to own it, and how it's turned my perspective around on those companies, because they responded in such great ways to these issues. So
yeah. And the one that we were specifically talking about, I don't know if some of you watching saw it, but like last week or something, I shared something on my page about KFC in the UK or whatever they switched suppliers or something, and they had a big thing where they like literally ran out of chicken.
Yeah.
And instead of, I guess, trying to tiptoe around it or try and make it sound all fancy or whatever, then they just basically come out right out front and just said, listen, we screwed up. We ran out of chicken. Like, how can a chicken restaurant run out of chicken? It's like,
I know. And and that is awesome, because you're exactly right. If you're not, as a salesperson, or as when you're looking at your customer service and customer relations types things, if you're in that scenario and you aren't on social media and you're not dealing with it, all you're going to get is the whole world on the rant and rave pages or whatever other pages there are out there saying terrible things about you because you're a chicken restaurant that ran out of chicken, and they're going to get negative. And that's how the negative comments come in. But if you're brave enough to just come out and say, yeah, this is stupid. How did we screw this up? Everybody's going to have a good laugh, and they're going to move on. And honestly, most people, myself included, are going to respect your brand that much more, because they're going to say, oh, look, they're making fun of themselves, and it's entertaining, and hey, we all screw up. Let's move on with our lives. So
That's right. And so I just posted on there a question. So for anybody watching, like, what do you think? As a business, do you tend to try and sugarcoat things to smooth things over, or do you just try to approach things from an honest perspective? Toby's here, and here, let me hide the question there, but Toby's here, and Toby says that you rule.
Oh, nice. Hi, Toby.
That's awesome, Toby.
Toby was my coffee guy. He used to deliver coffee to my old office. So how's it going?
Nice. Okay, so while we're kind of on this topic here, I want to know what you're thinking, or how you've been feeling about where things have transitioned from kind of the traditional salesy sort of stuff to now what you're seeing is kind of maybe working, or what you're doing, or whatever, now changing the way we're doing things, right?
Yeah, well, you know what, there's two sides of this, and obviously my current role, I've had to go a little bit away from sales, obviously it's foundation, but in previous roles I've had where we're trying to sell a product, there's been a couple of things, and one aspect I found is just by creating that engagement and by having something that makes people interested in your brand, it suddenly it suddenly kind of makes people a little bit more interested in buying your product, and it's getting them thinking about you. So one thing I did when I was at Regan's is, we started doing a lot of social media on kind of making fun of our own product a little bit, but it at least got people interested and ended up selling more stuff. So one of the campaigns I started there was not in the recycle bin, and we started posting actual pictures of things that people were recycling improperly, and we had the most ridiculous stuff in the world go in there. And what was great about that campaign was it suddenly got people realizing, oh, hey, recycling, it's not so hard, it's really easy, and I can do that. And also showed off, here's the proper ways to recycle it. And what was great for us as a business there was that now people are paying us more money, which is what our goal is to do always as salespeople. They're paying us more money so that they can have more recycling services, which came about because we were making fun of them because they were doing it wrong.
But the awareness of how to recycle created more stuff to recycle.
That's right. It was such a perfect campaign because it was fun and it was entertaining and everybody loved reading it. I had a lot of people reaching out to me saying, I watch that every week just to make sure something I put in my recycle bin didn't show up in your pictures every week. Yeah. And at the same time, we saw actual transition come out of it, which is the goal. And same thing with farmers. We did a farm bin campaign where we tried to do that, and we kind of just had a little bit of fun with them and talked about farms burning down because of burning barrels or something ridiculous, and that led to an actual sale. So it was really good. What I found with social media is to be entertaining. You have to remember that nobody's on there to be sold a product. They're not. Going on my personal Facebook page, I'm not there to read a corporate communication about this is how we blah blah blah. It's boring, and it's a mistake I made. It's a mistake I made, and you pointed out to me the first time you and I ever met about anything business-wise. It's so easy to get used to that corporate communication type of model, and that's not what social media is about. People are there to just have off-the-cuff comments all the time, and so to use that to your advantage to market your brand and to sell your product worked really well. So.
Right. And it kind of ties in line with where things are going right now with the Facebook algorithm changes and some of the recent conversations you and I have had is, yes, it needs to be like fun and educational, entertaining, but we do that through storytelling, through, getting people involved with what's going on and how it's really, it's somewhat of a soft sales tactic, but it's really it's bringing us back and humanizing the business and showing that people want to work with people. So let's, share our stories and get people involved and bring them into our world and talk with them and have conversations with them. And then through that, you build the relationships and the trust so that you earn the right to throw out a sales pitch, or you know what I mean?
Absolutely right. Even I've seen a few companies now doing this where and it works better if you're in an organization where you have multiple social media marketing people, but where they're actually posting, the first name of whoever posted this sort of thing, right? And so now you sort of almost get to build up that relationship with a page, which is something that every business always wants, is that you treat their business like it's a person, and that's not always going to work. But on social media, you kind of get that, and it's build that relationship. Let's not just make this the official page of. That's not, nobody cares. But if they know the person behind it, or start to build a relationship with either yourself or whoever's doing your social media posting, they can start to feel a connection, and that's what's going to ultimately lead them to read more of your posts and create more engagement and answer questions and things like that, which is what you want. I mean, it's so funny. People have this fear of people asking questions on their page because they think, oh, that's more work, and it's usually negative, but really it's the best thing ever for you because you can respond to things. So.
Okay, well, that brings me to this. I'm going to, because we're talking about, so for pages, sometimes it's not just one person running a business page, right? There's multiple people involved. So I try and think of each page as having a separate personality that everybody is kind of adding to. And then that's the personality that's always speaking and engaging and talking with the fans or the people on the page. So I kind of want to know, like, when people are posting, are they thinking of themselves talking, or are they thinking of like this personality talking?
That's a good question. I know for myself, I think of it a lot as myself posting, and I hope that never burns me. I just did one for the foundation, and I'm going to bring it up here because it's hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. I laugh at myself, and I laugh at my own jokes, and I think that's great. And I hope other people found it. It did well, so I'm gonna tell myself that it did well. But I did a post for the foundation for our radiothon that's coming up right away. Mm-hmm. Kind of talking about the 3 different options that you can do to get involved in the radiothon. So now I'm going to do my own little plug here, which is fine. But I said there's 3 ways you can get involved in the radiothon for life. The one is, let me find it here. That's not it. Sorry. See, this is why live is.
That's all. And I think if I pay for the paid version, we could actually screen share your screen. But we're just doing the freebie here.
Just doing the freebie. There it is. So it said 3 ways you can get involved in the Radiothon for Life. Here are a few options. 1, bring down your donation on April 18th, and we may even interview you on live radio. Think about it. You'd be famous.
Next one is famous.
You'd be famous. Plan a fundraiser with your friends or at work, bake cookies, wear jeans, whatever it takes. And then the 3rd one is volunteer to answer phones and take down pledges. It's like PBS, but better. So I had a good laugh at it. I'm writing that definitely as myself, and acknowledging that anybody following our page has saw that Becky's on maternity leave and that I'm taking over. So I like to post as myself. That's my opinion, and I find it seems to work well, and I hope that most people are reading it that way. I don't know, maybe I'm totally wrong, but
well, and maybe for right now it is a good strategy because there has been sort of a changing of the guards, so to speak. But eventually, I think the foundation needs to have its own voice, and you're going to be using that all the time to promote the foundation. And so the foundation has a voice, but yes, if it's Travis helping out with that, or if it's somebody else helping that, they're contributing to that voice, but there's still always ultimately like a
foundation voice. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The foundation has its own ideology and its own culture and its own, ways of saying things and stuff that you personally wouldn't do, right? Like it does kind of have its own separate personality.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, it's a tough thing. And the big thing that I always have to try to get my head wrapped around is how is everybody else reading this, and how am I translating this into something else? Because it's pretty easy for me to just post on the foundation's page saying, we're having a big event, please bring money. Of course, that's obvious, right? They're already thinking that. So now it's how do I come up with a clever way and a personal way for you to think, oh, okay, that's what I could do, and that'll bring money to the foundation. And okay, I should do just that. And I mean, the one that I'm seeing is successful was the second one, which is plan a fundraiser with your friends at work. And already I've got 3 or 4 other groups that are doing fundraisers through their social media pages. And it's all little ones who, someone sells Tupperware out of their home, and they're like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And that's all little things that have helped us out, and it's paying off, right? And so finding something that everybody else wants to read and that's going to make them act is the big challenge. So
yeah, I think the one where you're talking about like businesses or places of work can like wear jeans and donate $1 or whatever that day for doing that. I have a question for you, Travis. Like, what do people like me do? Like, do I just maybe not wear pants at all?
Wear pants at all. You're allowed to do that. If that raises money, I'll take it. Just don't let me. I don't want to know.
No, everything I do is always from the neck up anyway.
Right. You're fine.
I may not be wearing pants right now.
That's true. That's true.
I could just say I'm raising money for the St. Joseph's Hospital Foundation.
I don't know how it brings in money, but whatever works, hey, I'll take it. We'll take it. What the person like you? I mean, we've got one group is giving a portion of their sales towards the foundation. Volunteering is always a big thing too, but the ones that I'm finding the most successful though, and I'll give a shout out to them is Joe Fit. They're doing a really great program where you can give money to them and they'll bring it all in as one sort of big donation.
And they're going to be riding some sort of like bike that has a really scary name.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so that's
it's like was it like the death bike or something like that? Or
that I know, which is crazy. Like, why would you ever want to ride a bike on something?
Yeah, but you know what?
But yeah,
and a huge tip of the hat to Jennifer Olfert for coming up with this idea, because it totally works with what she does and who she is, right? And of course, people like, I'll probably show when I'm there answering the phones or whatever that day, I might show up with some extra money to put towards that, just because I want to see her and her husband work their butts off on that bike. And it's all for a good cause, and it's lots of fun.
And this is the great thing, right? Is because I created engagement. Now she's created this little fundraiser she's going to do. It's going to benefit her business, and she can do that. And now your business can give to her business, and we can all pay off of the same idea of having a big conversation. And that's the big thing, in terms of a sales pitch on social media that you have to kind of get around, is like we said at the beginning, is it's not just blasting people with information. It's a full conversation. So ways to tag in other groups and businesses and community events and things like that, and play off of it and expand your own marketing it's so much better, because everybody gets involved and they get excited about it. So
well, and it's just about like I said, it's all about the conversation and finding relatability and things that you and your fans or your potential customers and clients can relate on. And that's where you get the laughs and the giggles and the idea generation and the conversations there. So I think we're running on to like 20 some minutes here now. I think we should try and I know it goes by really fast. We'll try and wrap things up. So while we're doing that, I want to ask you, so biggest maybe lesson learned in the last, I don't know, however long you've been kind of working in the marketing and sales space. Like, what's kind of like one of the biggest aha moments for you right now?
Aha moments for me? You know what? Probably exactly that well, my biggest aha moment was still kicking myself on my own when I was marketing my own products. I'll never forget. This is the story I'll tell to everybody, because it's my own foolish mistake. Is you can get wrapped up in your own products and remember that you're not selling to you, you're selling to everybody else. And so there was a period a couple of years ago where I was selling phone systems, which is a product that I have a lot of background in, and was super excited. And I love the technology space. That's where I come from, and especially telecommunications. And so I got really excited about this great new phone system that is a total breakthrough in technology from any other phone system. And I posted a picture, and it's like and I posted this great big post, but it's not like anything else. And then you and I got to talking, and you're like, yeah, it's just a phone. Like, I don't care. And I was defeated, but I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, the person I'm selling to, my business clients who are buying this, they don't care what it looks like. They don't care.
Yeah.
How do I make this work, and how do I make this cheap? And so
I actually think I remember that. And I think I said something about like, that phone looks like an old school phone that I'd see in a conference room that had like dust on it. Like, it had like tons of buttons on it and like all these things. It still had like the curly cord going to the
which, when you're in my space and you know what to look for in a phone system, it's amazing. And to anybody, my old friends at SaskTel, they're probably like, wow, that's a cool product. They would like, yeah, I love that thing. To any other normal business owner, they don't care. And to remember and remind yourself that like, your customer is not you, and it's easy to get wrapped up in that. And
I love getting paid to be like mean and real sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and there again, that came down to, sure, if I were making a nice, lovely brochure on this, that's exactly what it would have looked like. But on social media, nobody's going to follow, because that brochure I'm taking in, and they've already called me because they need a new phone system, so I'm going to come in and tell them why this is better. But on social media, unless they're looking for a new phone system and are already in that space, which is not the purpose of it, they don't care. They don't care. They're not going to follow me because they're looking at my brochure. They're following me because they have something else of interest. And if you're thinking long-term clients, you need to give them something besides their immediate needs. So
right. Well, and it's not posting the picture of it. It's posting something more, explaining the benefits, like you have to sell the why. Like, why should I give a shit about this phone with a ton of buttons that overwhelms me because I'm not tech savvy and I see this as like a headache?
Yeah.
And then you have to come in and explain it to me like, no, actually, these buttons simplify things and this is how it does that. And here's some cool features, which is going to help you save time and money. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, so there's, again, that's a storytelling. You're telling the story about this phone. And just, you know, posting a picture or geeking out in your own way and getting excited about it isn't always what the rest of us want to know.
Right. Well, and therein lies the problem.
You said garbage isn't sexy. Well, neither are like super techie phones either.
Yeah. Well, and that's and therein lies the problem is the why. You don't have the why on when you're from, you know, my background, when you're coming from sales to marketing. Sales people already have the why because that's why you're there. You already showed up and they know why they need your product. But when you're looking at it in the marketing and especially in a social media aspect, that's not there. You want people to follow your page who don't already need your product. And same thing on a website, right? You know, somebody's going to your website, they're already there for that. Social media is a whole other game. You need to get people engaged when they don't need your product. And so that's
and it's, I mean, there is a bit of a difference. So if it's a small item, an impulse buy that's low cost, then it's like, then you promote the item, you know, people see it, they buy it, right? It's quick and easy. It's the bigger items. It's the investments. It's the, you know, like a phone system, like something that takes more of a commitment than a quick no-brainer impulse buy. Those are the types of things where you have to create the journey and share that story and get people involved with it because, yeah, you see the thing, you buy the thing, $5, no big deal. But if you're asking me for, you know, sometimes items like I see Josh LeBlanc was on here earlier, like he's selling homes. Like you have to want to buy a home and you have to have your finances together and everything. Most people can't just stroke a check for a couple $100,000 for a brand new house.
You sure can't.
You got to take them on a journey first. You got to, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, that's exactly right. So trying to figure out what that works with it. Obviously, it's a little different in every industry, but there's creative ways that you can get people interested in what you're doing. So.
Yep, cool. I'm just going to ask people here if they can just quickly post maybe their biggest takeaway in this conversation, and then that's going to kind of segment things for me and you. Because I had explained to you when I first called you about doing this little interview today that I want to start doing more of these. I want to start doing more interview style type conversations, talking about real life scenarios and real people doing what they do in business and in marketing and Facebook and stuff. So I'm inviting those that are here live or watching the replay to comment and let me know, you know, what are some of the things that you want to know more about, or do you know somebody who would be excellent to be partnered up with me here? I don't know. It depends on which way I don't know.
I don't know which way
I'm literally pointing to you right now, but I don't know if that's the way it's showing to everybody else. You know, who should bring on? Because I'd like to do kind of a weekly, and maybe not quite this long. We went a little bit, you know, half an hour or whatever, but that's because I can't get Travis to shut up.
Well, I know. Us politicians, we just don't stop talking. That's the problem. And marketers aren't any better. So when you get doing one,
that's right. You get a couple marketers together, and it's just nonstop. So post some of your takeaways. I'm sure Travis would appreciate if there was something that you maybe found useful or helpful. If you thought of something that you'd like to learn more about, then share that with me. I've got some connections. I have a few people in mind that I'd like to bring forth and do stuff like this with. I think it's fun. And you know what, like you said, what better way to spend a cold, miserable Friday? So depending on when you're watching this, right now it's cold, miserable. We're hanging out, having hot coffee, and
yeah, absolutely.
And chatting. So.
I appreciate you doing these because it's good for all of us to share our knowledge, and I'm looking forward to watching more of your videos with other people. So. Awesome.
Oh, look, we still have a few people kind of tagging in, so. The ones that are coming in now will have to catch the beginning. It's been a pretty good conversation. I think I really like how the story about you taking garbage and making it into something that was a little bit more fun. I mean, but you did a positive spin on it. We need more positive spins on social media and less negative. That, I don't know, the saying about you can get more with honey. How's that saying go? Like,
more flies with honey than with vinegar, I think is what it is.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, social media is only negative because we're negative on it, right?
And people actually they don't want that, right? Research and stats show when we go to our Facebook page, we actually want to feel good and we want to be happy when we leave. So as a business, if you can, be sharing things and making people happy and being positive, that will shine a positive light on you. And
that turnaround, because, going back to the KFC story and what I did with recycling there, both of those here's a problem, right? I mean, KFC, we screwed up with my recycling. It's you screwed up. And how do we turn that around, and how do we make it fun, and how do we get people interested in this negative situation? People throwing garbage in a recycling can is a negative thing. A chicken restaurant without chicken is a negative thing. And so making it positive, suddenly now it's not a negative downer. Now it's an advantage to your business. So
yeah, definitely builds likability and trust and all that sort of stuff. So awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time here with me today. For those that are in the Southeast Saskatchewan area, please make sure that you participate in Radiothon, which is on the 18th.
18th.
I got it right. I got it in my agenda. I know I'm going to be there. Participate with the Radiothon on April 18th, whether you come down to the hospital and just be there, or whether you do a fun little fundraiser and let Travis know about what you're doing and donate some money or whatever. It helps us all in the Southeast because healthcare is a thing and we need it.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's not a hard cause to market. Everybody uses it, so it's a good thing. And come on down. We'll have our nursing staff and doctors and things like that there to tell you all about the great things we're doing at the hospital, and we'll support it. So.
And speaking of storytelling, I did catch the video that you posted a couple days ago too, highlighting the Marcottes and everything. So that was very well done as well. So if anybody has a few moments and wants to really talk about storytelling, to really watch somebody's story. And I mean, to me, it's cool because I know these people. And so there's just an instant relatability there too. So go ahead and check that out.
Absolutely.
You're welcome, Melanie. Thanks for joining us today. I look forward to hearing some of the comments and stuff from some of you after we wrap this up. What we did well, what we could do better, who we'd like to talk about, what we'd like to talk about, all that kind of stuff. So
just remember that, this is the first one Brooke's done, and we didn't plan it out that well beforehand. So keep your comments positive, like we said.
Exactly. Well, it's only new once. This was the first time.
That's right.
Won't be so new.
Next time we have no excuse. That's the problem.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day, and keep it positive, people.
Thanks, Brooke. See you, everybody.
Bye-bye.